Well, good morning, folks. You're going to hear feedback from an appliance running, so be aware. Yesterday, and I have avoided censorship from Facebook for a long time, I finally learned their algorithms. Algorithms meaning that there's things that they preset in their computers, like words, like if you say stupid or thug, boom, they censor you. You show inappropriate pictures, nudity, they censor you. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. And bear with me. Pacific is going to make his breakfast while we're doing video. One of the things that continues to amaze me about social media is how monstrous they've become, how invasive they've become, how they have gotten to a point now where we cannot live without it. Even in our workplace, it's happening all across America and it's happening all across the world. Bring in more people, get everybody under control, have everybody log into company email. Now in my job we have to use tablets to perform all of our daily functions with our job. And you are being recorded. Everything you do online, everything you post is forever out there in Cyberville. One of the best things that could happen to our society is an EMP being dropped and all of that goes poof. But what will we do? What will we do without social media? Get 2 tin cans and a string and, hey, buddy, what? Play hide and seek, push a tire down the street. It's worth thinking about. Why? Because that's what we used to do. What about as adults? Well, we went to work, and we got off of work, we did chores, we helped and participated in the household duties. In my case, growing up as a kid, weekends in the summer involved going out of the woods and getting firewood for our snowy winters in a mountain town. 10 cords of wood. That was many truckloads, by the way. And I found things to do, rode my bike, played with electronic stuff, made speakers crackle by hooking up my railroad train track controller to the speaker. The 2 wires go zzz. I'd take a little electric motor and hook up the leads to that. Then I'd put too much gravel in my little tiny postage stamp HO scale, a smaller scale railroad, and watch my little engine and start slipping, and then I wondered why I burned out my little, locomotive. You know, when you're a kid and bored. But the advent of social media showed up. And it was MySpace, Friendster. Friendster was a great site. The Asians pretty much hooked up onto that. Facebook destroyed it. Somebody said MySpace is still out there. I have no idea. I had gone over to MeWe, but MeWe just doesn't have the format or the setup like Facebook. Facebook is dominated so much that even here where I live, you go by a big church, and the only thing on their bulletin board, their digital sign, is nothing. Just like us on Facebook. It's sad. We've come to that. Everything depends on this or this. Why did I get restricted for 6 days? Well, I have a page on Facebook that's politics. And what it is it is posting mainly Fox News, Tucker Carlson, as well as written articles about the crazy stuff that's going on in the political realm and in our world in general. And of course, I want to offer prayers for Kentucky with their historic floods. The death toll is going to rise. Very, very sobering. All kinds of stuff going on every day. But I've never heard such a loud refrigerator in all my life. I want to make it clear that I try to be conscientious. Years ago, I didn't care. I think I went through 10 different Facebook accounts. Shut down, shut down, shut down. And I am going to attempt to talk to you why I was shut down. And yet, the hypocrisy and double standard of Facebook's hit and run justice. First of all, let me make it very clear to you that Facebook is not based on the American judicial system. They tell you you're guilty, you have no defense, they give you no proof, they don't cite the community standard you violated. They do things the way Nazi Germany did things. They have something against you, you're guilty, you're done. That's it. And that's the way social media operates. Google bought out YouTube, it changed the direction of that forever. Now you can't pull up a video without getting at least 2 ads that you cannot click off. And I love the American concept of false advertising. Ad will end in 5 seconds. Ad ends, ad number 2 comes. Ad will end in 5 seconds. Lie. You've got 2 ads, not 1. And they're so greedy, they're absolutely beyond greedy. Let's get some facts in order. Bear with me 1 minute. Hey Siri, what is Google's net worth?
Okay, I found this on the web for what is Google's net worth.
This is 2022, January. Google LLC Alphabet has a total net worth of $1,549 billion. Google's parent company is Alphabet Inc. and total net worth in Indian currency is 120 lakh crore. You haven't noticed, but the number of times you visit Google.com is much more than the number of times you eat. The daily earnings of Google is $50 million, which shows its worth in today's world. Google earns a huge amount of wealth from an advertisement of products and services. So YouTube used to be really cool. You could just get on there and do continuous play, and you can still do that. You're constantly clicking off ads unless you buy YouTube Red, which is just another gimmick to make money. None of these ads on YouTube videos have any relevancy to my life, or most people I know. They're usually something about some hospital with some kid who's got some rare cancer. No offense to that. Not making light of that. But you have so much crazy stuff that the advertisers feel you need to have. Mostly done, and this is interesting, we live in an age where whites are being called racist. And what's interesting is almost every commercial now is a Caucasian woman with an irritating, contrived, child-directed speech, plastic voice. You pull up any commercial. You pull up car commercials. They're irritating, they're edgy, they're fast-talking, it's no credit, bad credit, good credit, we can get you in a car, no! And then you wonder why everybody drives that way. Maybe Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But forgive me my informality. I don't do everything polished. I try to do two things at once. It's great fun. Cooking some eggs. And one of the things that I'm shocked at continually in our culture today is how social media takes it upon themselves to censor all the time what they don't like. And they hide under the so-called community standards. What community? Is it the community of you and me and people all around the globe? Or is it the Facebook leftist, leaning snowflake, easily butthurt liberals? I think that pretty much sums it up. And I have avoided those issues for a long time. Yesterday, I had posted a picture of a very rusty, smaller passenger ship. Very rusty. I mean, this thing looked like it should be taken out of service. And I posted it in my political page, and I titled it SS Pelosi, ... One of my good friends from Long Island put the emoji of a guy falling on the ground laughing, and he put something, paraphrasing it, that I forgot what it was, an F-18 or an F-16, and fly over and basically pummel the ship to pieces. I laughed and I put, all you gotta do is do a flyover and plop a BOMB down the stack straight to the boiler room and boom, kaboom. I get a warning sent to me that his comment was removed for violating community standards. I'm like, really? Then I get this red thing shows up that they removed my comment for violating community standards. Then I get another warning and 3 more shoved in. I'm like, what is all this? When I go click on their little retarded little bling bling, and now if I pull up my phone, this is just cute. Facebook is just so retarded anymore, and this is shameful. See if we can do this. It's not going to show it, but they got this big banner that only I can see this account restricted in a red line with a circle. Facebook geeks. Revenge of the nerds. Have you ever read about some of these people? Bill Gates is one. Teased, laughed at, pen protectors, the geeks. They didn't have physique in their favor, they didn't have looks in their favor, but they were very, 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 very technologically smart. And what is interesting about that is that they used their technological know-how to become social media tyrants. And I want to say something again. I want you to notice every one of these social media gurus, they have lived as capitalist pigs, gluttons to be exact, amassing millions and millions of dollars, complete with mansions, and they're promoting a party that's promoting socialism and restriction of your rights. Go look at every Democrat and every liberal out there, and you will see this to be the case. They claim they're a party of compassion. The Democratic Party in the United States has committed genocide worse than Stalin, Lenin, Hitler, Mussolini, and any of those combined. Don't believe me? Look it up. Let's have some fun.
found this on the web for how...
I hate this. Can you just answer the question? No, wrong one. Hey Siri, how many people did the Soviet leader Lenin have killed?
Okay, I found this on the web for how many people did the Soviet leader Lenin have killed. Check it out.
Okay, Siri's retarded. It doesn't work. It gives me how Lenin died. That's another thing you need to be aware of is the search things is, how about if we do this, because this is a better way. The search engines are also biased, especially Alexa and the one that I just mentioned here. How many people did Lenin have killed? Yeah, you can't get a direct answer to nothing. This is retarded. Retarded. I'll tell you, this media is, you gotta be careful. It's gonna pull up stuff. How many people were killed under Stalin? We get a direct answer. Under the Stalinist regime, there were 6 million direct deaths and 9 million in total. How many people were killed under Adolf Hitler? Basically 16,315,000. Now, we're not going to go through all this, but you get the point. The Democratic Party in the continental United States, the country that waves a flag, the home of the free, land of the brave. Pay attention to this, because this is a fact. The Democratic Party in the continental United States has committed more genocide than any other crazy despot, out of control, tyrannical leader. And what is interesting is that that's not publicized. You listen to Pelosi and you listen to these people and they just lie. They misrepresent. They make it out to conservatives, Republicans, and now Christians are under attack. Comments are being made that there's some people trying to bring back Christian nationalism. Oh yes, the Democrats would be very disturbed about that, of course. Instead, they want liberal nationalism, aka socialism. That the corporate big shots that control social media are the ones bringing this Trojan horse in the back door through Facebook, TikTok. TikTok is a spying tool that's used by China. Now, please understand that teen girls now today can get on TikTok, and that's about it, tic-tacky, and they can do no bra challenge and inappropriate stuff, and they can send that to people that will pay them. They can get reimbursed through Cash App. And there's no trends, there's nothing to chase down for the feds to bust people for pedophilia, inappropriate, or child porn. I know this is a fact because there's articles surfacing stating that this is indeed going on. Girls in America and around the world, not just America, but it's actually taken a turn in Thailand, the Philippines, and other countries as well. That women have a tendency to self-obsess and they love to be narcissistic. We all want to feel good. We all want to get compliments. Let me say that at the base human level. Pacific likes to be affirmed. We all want our attaboys. Women, especially teens, young women, and still adult women that never grew up beyond middle school are attention seekers. And in the Philippines, you have young ladies saying, I need sponsors, and I wrote one the other day, I said, you know what? People are struggling, inflation is high, you need to go find a job instead of sitting on Facebook showing another picture of your shaved, clean underarm, because that's all you're doing all day long. Go get a job, work for a living, and stop mooching for money, thinking that everybody in the U.S. is so wealthy that we're just waiting to sit around and hand people in third world countries our money. I've had to explain to many people overseas, yes, we earn more money than you. However, my cost of living is much higher than yours. It is substantially higher than yours. The bills that we have, you are not even familiar with. You don't pay vehicle insurance, you don't pay vehicle maintenance, you don't buy vehicle gas, you get on a jeepney or a truck or a tricycle or a bus or a LRT or a ferry, which is much cheaper than it is for my monthly transportation costs in the United States. And by law, you have to insure your motor vehicle in case you hit somebody. That's a payment every 6 months. So, the reason I get upset with Facebook is they have their community standards, which are always vague. They have standards against nudity. They tried to sue a Frenchman a Frenchman sued Facebook years ago because they shut down his Facebook because he did a nude oil painting replica of his wife, meaning it wasn't a naked photo, but it was a painted replica of her in oil. Their so-called community standards are against nudity, but let me tell you something that's a fact, and if you don't believe me, you can go home and try this experiment yourself. Get on Facebook, go into the lesbian category in Facebook, lesbian groups, and notice how many pictures start getting edgy and raised. Two topless women, you can see their nipples, breasts, tongue kissing, nipple to nipple. I did an experiment, and you click down the drop-down boxes to complain, and you put sexual whatever. We thank you so much for reporting this. We will look at this, see if it goes against our community standards. Every single time that I've reported those, we reviewed your complaint, and this does not violate our community standards. But let Pacific, who's a red-blooded male, who's attracted to a woman, post a picture of a woman like this with a top on, okay? But either no bra or a soft bra where the nipples or the areolas kind of show through the sheer shirt. Boom! Facebook jail 30 days. Post a picture of two women sitting in bras, leaning up against each other. No nipples showing. Boom! And in the past, I could say, do not agree with the decision, and they would review it and say, oh, we felt it didn't violate your community standards. But they let the sentence still stand. Facebook does not give an explanation of just what I did wrong yesterday. We can still use Messenger. My friend in New York and I were going back and forth. I said, apparently you cannot say BOMB and you can't say ammunition. Facebook isn't intelligent enough. The algorithms and the staff in the offices, the tech geeks, are not intelligent enough to see satire. Rusty passenger vessel, looks like it's about to sink, joking about dropping a BOMB down the stack to the engine room, watch it go kaboom. Now, I can understand you don't make jokes about that with a school or government officials or government buildings, but we titled it the SS Pelosi. Now, does that mean I would support me or my friends bombing her? No. But should she actually go to Taiwan, which is a poor choice for our government to do, and I support Taiwan, but Pelosi is not a good representative of the United States at all. That is not my opinion, that's a bona fide fact. She is a socialist. But yet, she's worth over $100 million. Lives in a mansion, constantly dumping and moving stocks around. The woman is unethical at best. She's irritating to listen to. Only fools vote her into office. My express opinion. There's nothing ladylike about her. I'm going to refrain from being childish about all the stuff she wears around a wrinkled up neck. She's old, she needs to get out. I don't believe in age discrimination, but she's not done enough damage in this country, and why she continues to be in power is beyond my understanding. But just as I believe there's a God, there's a devil, and the devil is definitely in the details in America right now. There are people who strongly believe, and I am one of them, that we are headed towards a one world government. 2020, to quote some of these nefarious, wicked, soy boy, doughboy, live in their gated community protected by armed men with guns. Justin Trudeau, okay? In Canada. What he did to the truckers, stealing their GoFundMe account money. All they did was park their trucks. They caused no damage to anything. And he was vocal and irate about it. And what is interesting about all that is contrast that to 2020 in the United States, when they let the malcontents and thug culture in the U.S. tear up billions and billions of dollars in city, county, state, and federal jurisdictions, as well as personal property. You did not hear one word from any of these politicians telling them to stop or decrying any of the above. Some truckers show up to protest the totalitarian regime of COVID mandates. And what's ironic is after all that was broken up, and he threatened to punish everybody and jail people and take away their licenses and their livelihood and stole their GoFundMe donations, which I hope somebody's got that in the court. Canada sues their pants off and they have to refund that back to all the donors. When you do a peaceful protest in today's upside down world, you're going to get punished. If you're a liberal, if you're a certain ethnicity, you get a free pass to bust up everything around you in America. The liberals are against gun ownership. All of them have protected armed people all around them all the time. If you're against guns, then yours and your armed personnel need to go away as well. We should no longer have Secret Service to protect our president. You want to get rid of guns? You get rid of all of them, including the ones protecting, POSs. Now, back to Facebook. The photo that they complained about, the date on that was July 30th, 2021. That was interesting to me because, why are they just now making an issue about this? And I didn't take the time to read it because once you see something and then you go back and try to find it, Facebook deletes and removes something. Facebook has set itself up so that I cannot go get an attorney and sue them. They get rid of the evidence. But once you posted something on cyber, it is my understanding it's always there somehow. Somebody told me that there are some sites now that are going into encryption. I had a friend of mine who taught English in China for 6 years come back to the US a few years ago. Told me he got on a site that's supposed to be about dating. And he informed me that there's underage girls around the world on that, as well as US, foreign girls, He's like, no, you're 14, no. And any conversation you have is encrypted, which means that once you're done with the conversation, it disappears. And of course, I tell people all the time, stay away from that kind of stuff. Do not engage. That will just get you in a whole world of trouble if you are found out. I'm not even going to talk about today's teens. I work with teens and they are troubled, a lot of them. And what they're exposed to today far exceeds my exposure rate to harmful stuff when I was their age. When I was their age, I was busy thinking of shoveling snow. I was fascinated with case, front end loaders, the mountain that I live by, that you see down. And it's interesting. Kids aren't thinking the same that we did. Zuckerberg and his team said they deliberately made Facebook to be addicting. And it is. It became a binky and a pacifier mostly for women. I don't care where you go in America. You walk down the street, you go to a bus stop, you go anywhere. Even the other day, I was in an Asian restaurant downtown. I observed a fairly attractive couple, and they're both eating their dinner glued to their personal phones. Wow, that's a real exciting date over there. People can't put this stuff down. The nightclub that I attend to dance at and shoot pool with, everybody's glued to their phones. In fact, when they get up to dance, the women are holding it, recording themselves, so that they can put out there in social media land how cool they are. To me, I've used social media for a variety of reasons. One of the overarching ones for me is to speak, to be transparent and be honest and put, yes, myself out there as a voice of sanity. When you stand on the truth, rest assured you're going to have a whole bunch of enemies come after you, especially today. Freedom of speech is under assault. Facebook gets away with this stuff when they should be sued under our constitutional law, under our judicial law, that when you're accused of a crime, you have a right to defend yourself. No, you don't. Not with Mark Zuckerberg and his brown shirt crew. And that's what they are. They're liberals. They're Democrats. They're pro-abortion, pro-gay marriage. Okay? They're pro-everything. I looked up a young lady the other day to see if she was still in full swing, Pandora the Eclectic. And I looked at her silly little anti-Pacific videos are there, and the woman cannot form great articulation. She doesn't have oratory skills. She's a tired, semi-obese. I mean, to listen to her is work. And yet she has some small following. And I look at the different people who've attacked me. And nobody's perfect. I never thought I was, but it's like, really? You don't even have content. You don't have content that any of the people who follow me would even listen to and get anything out of. Different cerebral levels. Your cerebral level is down, way down here, low elevation. Mine is at 36,000 feet compared to her. And I know that some people would say, wow, that's not very nice. It's the truth. There are other YouTube artists that soar even higher than I do. Paul Joseph Watson's outstanding. Mark Dice. Several of the MGTOW people that I've listened to. Tucker Carlson. I like his commentary on things. Fox News has been on the bullseye in talking about the crazy stuff that's going on in the liberal world. The lies, the misrepresentation. Biden is against building the wall, said it from day one. Illegals are pouring into this country. And listen to the Democrats' response to anybody who's trying to deal with the problem in their own state. Remember, all these limousine liberals, they don't live down in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico where they're pouring in. They're living in their gated communities, protected by heavy police presence and immediate police response time with security videos and wrought iron fences, Maxine Waters and others. They're against the wall, but they got walls and security systems around their mansions. The hypocrisy of the left is always self-evident in every single thing they do. Zuckerberg and his team are without exception. Zuckerberg lives in his mansion, he's worth billions, and he can just arbitrarily, with his monotone, boring face, boring, complete demeanor, he's a geek. He doesn't do what I've done. He doesn't have the experiences I have. I can't imagine a woman wanting to be married to that. My guess is the woman that's married to him, it's not about love. It's about, man, this guy's got a bankroll. Just saying. It's funny how Zuckerberg bought up property around his place to keep developers from coming in. Does that sound like socialism to you? Why don't you take a wing of your mansion and bring in the refugees and the illegals of the party you support? But back to the genocide of the U.S. Democrat Party. They've killed 62 million children in the name of choice, aka abortion. Margaret Sanger is a white woman who is a hater of ebony skin, black people specifically. You can read her own writings. She used the vehicle of abortion, which ultimately established the foundations for today's Planned Parenthood. And she wanted to get rid of the scourge. She was racist as hell. I've not heard any black leaders talk about that. And abortion reaches deep into the African American community, and African American women outpace whites for having children. That if you look at white liberal women in the U.S., our race is diminishing by the day, while blacks and Hispanics and Muslim nations and the Philippines and other people have more kids than we do. That if this goes on and on and on unchecked, the Caucasians will be no more. Simple as that. But Zuckerberg, with his community centers, he doesn't define what is community. The community people that work under him, I think that's more like it. Whatever offends the snowflakes, the butthurt, the liberals, the bias. You notice when they came out with, COVID that, he had all the little bumper stickers underneath. You put anything of a title with COVID in it, underneath, please check this is about COVID. And then the other one was the election. Things have been set in place to ensure the integrity of the election. Really? But you guys spent 4 years attacking Trump on Russian collusion. You had trial after trial after trial after trial. And I'm going to say something. Trump is not slick enough that if he did that, he is not slick enough to cover his tracks. Why? He's declared bankruptcy. He's made his gaffes and buffoon things. But he's not slick enough. Guess what? All the clowns in Washington didn't find one smoking gun to prove it. But millions of taxpayer dollars were wasted. Nancy Pelosi acted like a child walking out, I got impeachment pins. Talk about a twisted toddler woman ripping up the State of the Union address. That really showed proper decorum for a 80-something-year-old woman, 70-something. And then when we had the pandemic, and by the way, that was the words of choice. Systemic and pandemic were the words of choice. 2021, that now we're under the assault of systemic racism. There is systemic racism, but it's not coming from whites. Did you know that? Check it out. When the Democratic Party got control of the United States, guess what happened? All their little constituents in all their liberally dominated places, the crime that was already high in liberally dominated areas reached the highest heights that elevator doesn't even go to the top floor anymore. And the black on black violence in this country jumped exponentially in places like Chicago, Maryland, Baltimore, Detroit, and right in other places all around the nation. The place I'm currently living in right now, black on black violence is off the chain. Almost every day, a black man shot and killed a 16-year-old girl. One of my coworkers / Facebook friends messaged me and said, I knew that girl. He shot her multiple times because she spit on him. Instead of just getting away from her, and this is the problem with this community, is they don't find other ways to resolve conflict. It's shoot or beat up, shoot or beat up. And the Democrats don't talk about those things. They don't focus on those things. They're too busy worried about banning assault weapons, and they're one step closer. And I'm going to tell my friends, if you can, you better buy those ARs and AKs before you can't get them anymore. Because they're going to charge a high tax on it. They now in California allowed a law, but Gavin Newsom, one of the biggest phony governors of all time, turning California, once great state, into a complete sewer of liberal crap. 2035, you can no longer buy or purchase a gas-powered vehicle at a dealership. Lawn and leaf blowers are supposed to go. But he also made a law allowing people to sue gun manufacturers in the event of a death by gun. Hey, Newsom, can I sue Toyota, Chevy, Ford, and Dodge, and Nissan, and Kia, and all them if, people get killed by bad drivers? That's the foolishness of this foolish governor. And I would say that to his face, and he's attacking DeSantis. DeSantis has been a solid rock in Florida. When all the cargo ships were backed up outside Gavin Newsom's front porch, DeSantis said, hey, y'all can come over here. We got the ports. Captains fired up their engines and said, okay. Newsom is an idiot. He goes and has a $300 truffle dinner with no mask with his wife and other medical community staff, not related. And he laughed it off. Socialism? Sounds like the pigs in the farmhouse on Animal Farm. They're eating caviar and drinking red wine and telling the old horse and all the animals out there to plug along because it's good for them. The Democratic Party is the hypocrite party. And you'll have naysayers who'll come on here and say, you know what, Pacific, F you, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Really? A $300 truffle dinner during the pandemic. This is the same clown who shut down skate parks by filling them with sand. This is the same clown when a kayaker was out on the Pacific Ocean, not even on the beach, but in the water, and the police are going out there trying to arrest him because they had to shut down the beach order. This Newsom is insane. These are not freedom-loving, democracy-oriented people. And when you hear Pelosi say democracy, when you hear Justin Bieber, Trudeau in Canada, that was an intentional slip, by the way, say democracy, we're not going to have a threat to democracy. Peaceful protest, clown. And that's what socialists, that's what Hitler, that's what Stalin, Lenin, they do doublespeak. They redefine the term, and they throw the same terms that you and I are accustomed to, and if you're not discerning and you're unsuspecting, it'll go right over your head. And that's why the evening leftist news, which is nothing but a bulldozer, continues to thrive. It plays on the ignorance, the unstudied. And going to school and getting a college education, by the way, does not in any way make you more knowledgeable than me or anybody else. It's manipulation as well as indoctrination into the leftist agenda. Remember Karl Marx? Oh, religion is the opiate of the people, so is atheism. Oh, in the name of religion, many people are killed. Have you read the numbers of people killed under Stalin, Lenin, and all your atheist buddies? I think it exceeded the death in the religious communities, didn't it? But the atheists don't want to hear that. Again, people who believe lies aren't going to entertain truth. And this is why social media shuts every damn thing down. I don't like him. I don't like his looks. I don't like what he says about my favorite candidate, Pelosi. It has gotten so bad that at my workplace the other day, somebody drove by in the dead of night and pushed a puppy, still teething, out of the door. It ended up inside our gate of our workplace. I came to work, well, what is a dog doing over here? And there's a dog in the back of the dog kennel on private property on the back far other side of the fence of our campus. And I thought maybe it got out of there. Well, as the day progressed, and I was in between my duties on my break, I went out and tried to win the dog over, got down real low, held him, come on, pup, come on. Dog finally got faith in me, let me pet her. It was a girl. And I tried to lead her to shade because it's in this wide open area with no trees. And I said, it was hot, 90, sweltering humidity. And several people asked, do you know whose dog it is? I said, no, I think somebody abandoned it. Because I said every time a car comes by, that dog would sit up, waiting for its master to return. So, long story short, I came to work the next day, dog is out there, 5:30 in the morning. A maintenance guy, I went over to talk to the dog. Maintenance guy pulled up, he says, I'm taking her. I've done animal rescue, 15 dog rescues. And I said, good, I'm glad. And he scooped her up, the dog seemed to accept it, and he put her in his truck. I posted on a group page I'm on, and 700 people, mostly women, gave hearts and likes. Women love dogs, okay? In this country, if you want to get a date and you want to get all the favor you want with women, be a dog OCD person, okay? Because that's going to net you the fastest results. I'm not pet OCD, but I care about an animal. And I'd actually entertained the idea, well, I could buy one of those chain link kennels. You know, it's not a doggy carrier, but a chain link kennel that goes in the backyard. You know, somebody can't lift it and drag it off. It's got a floor and sides, all chain link with the posts and the roof chain link. And it's usually got a shade thing built over that. And you could put a dog house and stuff in there and the dog can live. I really don't have time for a pet. I don't want a pet. Pets poop and pee and stink and shed, and I'm just not into the mood for all that. So the dog, I had posted that on the side. I said I was gonna get a dog kennel and take it on if it was there after I was done with my shift that day. But a guy beat me to it. All the women on there said, thank you for caring, and that's such a happy ending. And that just scored points, but it had to do with the group page I'm on of all of us that work in the same industry. One woman, 60 years old, not a pretty one, snow globe, you could tell by all her Facebook pictures, says, I'm very disturbed that this guy would even put this dog in a kennel. And I'm like, you missed the point of the whole post. Number one, I didn't put it in a kennel because somebody took it. But it would be better in a kennel in my yard where I would feed and care for it, take it to the vet, get its shots and all that, than out there where it could run out and get hit by a car, ultimately die in the southern heat. And I responded, I said, I'm remodeling my house, and I'm not going to have a teething dog in my house. She said that the dog should be brought in the house. I said, I work all day. You don't leave a puppy unattended in the house to chew up and destroy everything, because that's what's going to happen. I don't have time to train it. I said, the kennel is a big one. They have them all over the state I live in. People leave their dogs out all day in this state. Okay, now listen to the foolishness of this woman, and we're going to tie all this together. You said your piece. Now I'm going to say mine, and I'm not going to even read it if you respond back. Telling me how cruel it was. And I immediately I wrote a message under blocked, and I blocked her. Do you know how many years dogs have lived outside and fended for themselves? Have you been to Africa and seen hyenas and all those wild animals out in that blazing African heat all day? Where are you? Oh, we got to get the hyenas out of the sun. The stupidity and the ignorance of basic common thought today is gone. People who are conservative seem to have more intellect and more thought, concrete thought skills than most of the left ever does. And what you have with Facebook is they get offended at things and they don't give you an update of what offends them. There's been such crime lately that you can't use words like bomb, guns, this and that. But that's not stated in there. I've made no threat on anybody. That Facebook and their algorithms are incapable of detecting, hey, this is satire, it's a joke. Somebody sitting in the Facebook office, her name was Karen that day, is going, this guy's against Pelosi. I'm gonna get him. I had to have my friend post on my wall what happened so that my fans would go, because I post every day. News events, I'm in several group pages. It angers me that Facebook has this totalitarian, ridiculous power. And like Elon Musk, and that whole thing has turned into nothing but a circus. Embarrassing. He was going to buy Twitter, now he isn't. Now there's going to be lawsuits both sides of the aisle. I think Musk was trying to get attention for himself, and now he's embroiled into all these wives and children and who knows what. If I was billions of dollars net worth, just because of what I've been through, I would take on Facebook and bury them. I'd get a team of people that knew what the hell they're doing and say, we're going to make a new site. And we're going to make this work. And we're going to give Facebook a run for their money where they'll have to come and bend their knee to me and say, no, I don't want it. Facebook is not innovative at all. Its blue and white logo and way is Walmart all the way around. It's become the Walmart of the internet. One-stop shop. You want to connect with people, you want to do Facebook, that's it. They ran Friendster off the planet. That was Singaporean based. Friendster was so cool. You could take on Friendster, you could do an Asian silk design background. Not that blue and white stupid Walmart thing. You could create your own page look. Facebook doesn't allow you to do that. Facebook now, I find that when I'm on my laptop and you're trying to type a response message, this is the new thing that happens now. Instead of scrolling down where you're going to see the blank spaces, it drops down where you can't see it, and you go to erase something or delete, it goes bump, 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 and the paragraph jumps up and buries down where you can't see what you're doing, and then you got to take the mouse and scroll it back down to see where you are. Then you go to put the cursor there. Oh no, can't do that. You got to use the arrows. Facebook has become so convoluted in the last few years. My group page, which used to open up like my Facebook page, is now all jacked to the left. They're constantly changing format, constantly changing things. And then I went to go unblock somebody the other day. Can't find the block list at all. This is what geeks do. They get bored. And I'm going to be honest. My opinion. They sit in their corporate office and go, how can we do this? Mess with people today. They think they're so smart because, oh, it's easy. I can get around. Well, yeah, you created this monster. They're not doing any good for the world. Zuckerberg spent $440 or $540 million in voting machines to get Biden in. Isn't it the government's job to provide voting machines? You would think. You would think. You would think. But no. I have a problem with them. You allow lesbian sites to have open nudity, tongue kissing, sexual nudity. This doesn't violate our community standards. But two women leaning against each other with bras and panties without showing stuff is considered a violation. A woman with her nipples protruding through the shirt, covered, is a violation. It's time for us to wake up, people. Our society, our world, the powers that be, are promoting people, not me, a red-blooded male, to have a normal, natural, biological interest in women. They're not promoting women to have a biological, normal, natural interest to men. They are shoving it, ramming it, pushing it at all levels. That you need to be gay, men, and that women need to be lesbian. They don't want families. They don't want reproductivity anymore. Look at all these women that got angry and butthurt, lying about the Supreme Court. They got rid of Roe. They turned it to the states, morons. And you got your little blue states where you can run in there and you can go get knocked up at the bar, get pregnant, and now you can just deal with this inconvenience and murder, another added pile to the pile of genocide. Let me make that very clear. I don't care what the world around me says. I don't care about all the tact that comes my way in verbal or oral or written discourse on YouTube. Abortion is wrong. Why do I know that? Well, let's go from a biblical perspective. Well, Pacific, I don't believe in the Bible. I don't care. You can believe all the lies you want. When you die, you will know that what I have said is true. And if you want to prove me wrong, get back to me when you die. You see how much authority and, what do you mean you can't? You're dead, right? No, you go to one of two places. You go to heaven or hell. Oh, that's not popular today. But it's the truth. So you think you're all that, Mr. Atheist. You think you're all that, feminist. You think you're all that. When you die, get back to me and tell me I was wrong. I'll be waiting. Crickets. Crickets. Yes, I did. I am so sorry, I forgot to press send. That's the message, I just saw it. My bad. I will see you this morning at church. Let me, they're gnashing their teeth at us today. They're getting bold. The world around us is like that dog on the other side of the fence. Once you go inside that gate, you go, get it! And that dog runs. That's the world we're living in, folks.
What's great about Kroger Boost?
See these ads?
Double fuel points. Learn more at Kroger.
White women dominate every one of the ads. So who's all the racists? Well, it's white men. It's white men that are the danger. White women have been elevated above and beyond even black women in our society. They're the dominant voice on all your advertising. But all these women that want to tell me it's their body and it's their choice, when you die, get back to me and tell me if that's the truth. And that's what I'm going to hear. They won't be able to. because they and I are not going to be in the same place. It is not your body, and it's not your choice. The Bible uses a term, you are not your own, you're bought with a price. Now that applies to the Christian. And I and many of us have not always honored God the way we ought to. Let me make that very clear, because people like to say, oh, well, Pacific this, Pacific. Yeah, Pacific has been a sinful man most of his life. And so is all the people who attack me. All those who come after me and attack me act like they're so self-righteous. You start digging into their world, and you look at what they're saying in their attacks. The implied is that they never do what I did. Really? They're not putting themselves out here, so you're not able to test that. The Bible says a couple things, okay? When the Apostle Paul was talking about in Romans, he said, in Adam all die, in Christ all live. And what that means is everybody who descended from Adam will die ultimately. In the Old Testament in Genesis, when God told Adam and Eve, don't eat of that tree over there. Nobody knew what the fruit was. People say it was an apple. I don't believe that. I don't believe that fruit exists anymore, whatever it was. But they were given a choice, and God knew what they were going to do already. But he said, in the day that you eat of that fruit, thou shalt surely die. Now, it's been revealed to me by Bible scholars smarter than myself that has said that the original Hebrew says, dying, thou shalt surely die. That meant physical and spiritual death, immediate separation from God. Remember, God walked right down to the garden, and Adam and Eve, they had that open fellowship. Once they sinned, that broke that. Now you're a big Grand Canyon between you and God. But the other thing that people don't realize is now mankind has a life expectancy rate. Don't believe me? Go into Genesis where it talks about the genealogies. And you're talking about this person lived 300 and had sons, and this person lived 450. This one, Methuselah, lived 960 years old. And then there was Enoch, and he lived this many years, had these many sons, and then God took him, he was no more. That was a symbol of the rapture. He didn't see death. God just translated him out of the world. And this is why atheists laugh at the Bible. 906 years old. God's original intent was for man to live forever. But when we ate the fruit that he told us not to, the entire hard drive of creation was infected with a virus that is incurable by any doctor, anybody. We will not live forever. And everybody's been searching. Ponce de Leon looked for the fountain of youth in Florida. He never found it. No one has. Medical science has many good things and has made great strides, but they're not going to get us to live forever. Now, one of the things that the world is working on hell-bent towards is AI, artificial intelligence. I believe that that's going to play into the hands of this image of the beast that everybody's supposed to worship. We're hearing things about consolidation and everybody getting on board the same bus. Justin Trudeau in Canada is no different than our Democrat extremists down here. They're all going for the same thing. And the world is no longer, well, there's the Philippines, there's Taiwan. Taiwan is in danger. They're going to get swallowed up by China. And for the U.S. to send Nancy Pelosi there is nothing short of absurd. I don't like Nancy Pelosi. But let's go back and not rabbit trail too much. If in Adam all die, and it says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, then how do you account for a verse that God himself says there are 6 things the Lord hates? There's 7 that are detestable to him. And in that list, one of those items is hands that shed innocent blood. Now, that could be talking about Jesus. But technically, we're all guilty of murder. Our sins put him on the cross. So that could be a prophecy about us killing Christ by our own sinfulness. But the fact that it says hands that shed innocent blood, when the child is in the womb, the child has committed no acts of thought or physical sin. And we in America, not only do we got murder and rape and carjacking and theft and homicides all around us, but we in America took to new heights above Hitler, above Stalin, above Lenin, Mussolini, above Kim Jong-un, and all these crazy people. America leads the world in genocide. Hands that shed innocent blood. They call it choice. Isn't that a nice word? It's like when you go to a used car dealership, pre-owned. Nobody wants to call it used. Nobody wants to use terms the way they were meant to be. Really, you bought a used truck, dude. Pre-owned. It's like Prius. Anything with that pre in front of it. See ya. It is not a choice for the child within. Selfish, narcissistic, rebellious women support abortion. If they don't like that I'm saying that, I don't care. Truth is truth. Emotionally driven logic is emotionally driven logic. We see how you drive your car. We see how you are in society. You kind of women virtually have nothing good to give the collective. And you breed like rabbits. I see you in the bars when I'm down there. Your drink, your self-importance, dry humping another woman's leg. You're with some geeky guy that obviously you're with him because he makes the money, because he sure isn't physique. And he's all full of cockiness because look what I got. And I'd love for somebody to come up and do that and say, dude, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry? I'm really sorry you got married to that. Dude, she's done all that. It is not a choice for the child. That is a living being inside of you. You're making a choice against the wishes of that individual. I guarantee you that child in the room is not going, oh, I wish somebody put saline solution in me. I don't think so. But you can't argue with these fools. Listen to Kamala Harris. One of the worst vice president of the history of the United States, has done absolutely nothing but run her mouth like a toilet bowl, just goes round and round. Speaking out about the travesty, calling it racism and slavery that women don't have a choice anymore. Who said this? The Supreme Court said, no, we're not weighing in on this anymore. We never should have. They kicked it back to the states. Look at the Democrats. We want to put term limits on the sodas. We want to pack the court with all liberals. Do you hear what these nut jobs on the left are saying? So Facebook is simply an operative. Google, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, not Instagram, I don't want to say that, but Twitter, they have been major platforms elevating the Democratic Party to new heights. You have the media, you have Hollywood, and the public education system, starting with Head Start, all the way up to university level, pushing Karl Marx's bullcrap. Religion is the opiate of the people, he said. So is liberalism, so is atheism, so is evolution. Oh, Mike, come on, I like talking, but don't talk about evolution. You're not a scientist. Neither are the evolutionists. Really? You think the evolutionists are scientists? Show me the transitional life forms in the fossil record. Please. I'm waiting. Show me the transitional life forms right now. As my friend in Missouri said accurately, if evolution is true, why are there still monkeys? It is absurd to believe that something swam out of primordial slime. It's dumb. What these clowns are saying is that some cell just burnt up into a tadpole and just said one day, oh, get up. Okay, the tadpole has a life expectancy before it becomes a frog. So how does a cell just suddenly transform into something and live? Oh wait, there's no female to reproduce. So guess what? That thing that just morphed into a man just died because now it doesn't. Oh, but at the same time, another female tadpole showed up. And she's got a vagina and nipples to give milk, and a guy's got a cock that inseminates. That's just amazing how that just happened by pure coincidence. You know why they teach this foolishness in the public education system? because it legitimizes homosexuality and lesbianism and all the other crazy stuff that's going on in our universe. Now, before people accuse me of being homophobic, I've had same-sex desires myself. But in God's eyes, that is not God's intention. Do I want to marry and date a gay man? Absolutely not. Do I like women? Absolutely. Will I ever get married again? In this country, kind of dangerous. Facebook is no longer just social media. It's a corporate monolith. So is Google. Google swallowed up YouTube. You can't deal with trolls that come after you, but let somebody troll Pelosi or something, they'll shut down the channels, pull them out of there right now. The left are the bullies. The Democrats are the bullies. They kill babies. You can call them baby killers, child killers. I'm sick and tired of hearing terms like fetuses. But let somebody throw a baby in a dumpster and watch what the liberals do. That is just hiding now. Oh, 1 minute after it's born, it's murder. And the sleight of hand of you fools is so ridiculous. And that, right there, people like me, they don't like me. They don't like Tucker. They didn't like Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh died. These jackasses on the left laughed. We don't need a George Floyd statue. We need a statue of a man, Rush Limbaugh, who stated truth in his EIB network. No. People who speak the truth today are scorned, ridiculed, laughed at. The left is blind. They have a gross inability to see what they're doing and the hypocrisy of their ways. Jesus said something profound. He called Satan the father of lies. The Democratic Party does not tell the truth. They make bogus accusations. This whole January 6th thing is nothing but a dog and pony show, and they're doing it and pushing so that Trump can't run again. That is it. They have no ground to stand on proving that he orchestrated this. Don't believe me? Look at the Tucker Carlson video on Epps, EPPS. The old man yelling, let's go to the Capitol, let's go, and somebody yelled, no, feds. How come he wasn't arrested? How come he hasn't been questioned? Was he a Democrat plant? I believe right away that the Democrats, here's the problem of conservatives. They give a play-by-play book out there for everybody to hear. And the liberals hear that, and go, oh, this is what they're going to do. Oh, okay, Trump supporters are going to be down there. Come on, guys, let's get into this and make it look like they did it. You don't think that's possible, do you? You laugh at that. But yet you'll believe in UFOs, Santa Claus, and fairies, and you'll believe in Sasquatch, and on it goes. You'll laugh at the idea that God actually created this all in 6 days, but then you'll take more faith to believe that some single-cell organism crawled up on a beach and turned it into this. The Bible says the natural man comprehendeth not the things of God, they are foolishness to him. May I present to you Exhibit D, the Democrat Party. The Christ rejectors, Christ deniers are going to hell. They're not the party of compassion. And they take the most weakest-minded, unintellectual people to bring into their voting bloc. Illegals, certain ethnicities. They bring under their umbrella all the immoral, shake your fist in the air, God, we can marry same-sex, we can do what we want. They bring all those under their umbrella. When you own Hollywood and you own the media and you claim to be the biggest representative of LGBTQ and the entire alphabet added onto that now, I got news for you. There's two sexes, folks, male and female. That's it. Now we have to, I'm living in a world now where transgenders are right there with me every day. Men that want to become women with 2-inch nails and talk like a girl, and even when they get upset about something, they're acting with the hands and everything like a female. Why is this happening? Because we have a generation of so many kids raised without a dad. We have domineering women, and a lot of that feminism is partly responsible for this insane push for I want to deny my sexuality.com. It's getting worse. It's going to get worse. And it'd be nice to believe that the Republican red wave is going to come in the midterms. Don't kid yourself. The Democrats have had a taste of power. They like it. They're going to do something. Fauci's been quiet. He'll be coming soon with another virus soon to a theater near you. Watch. I believe that the COVID thing started in China, and I believe Fauci and others had something to do with that. And I believe that this was hush-hush, that we need a diversion. And it worked. I find it coincidental that came out the year that, the election was to take place. Isn't that interesting? You think that was an accident, coincidence? I don't. Now, what about these masks? Did they prevent it? Oh, but that's like the Rubik's Cube thing. That's that endless circular argumentation. Well, not everybody did it. That's why it's still around. If everybody would do it. That's a lie. I've got a pair of cut-off jeans. I can fart through my underwear and my denim, and you can still smell it. And you're going to tell me that mask is going to keep you from getting a germ. Right here, baby. Right here, baby. Ears and eyes. All of that is orifices for disease. You can have your mask on, you grab a handrail. If you didn't wash your hand, you reached up and did this. You just got COVID. But Pelosi goes into the hair salon. The clown of Virginia that was there, no mask. And you had these little doughboys suddenly had a moment of, I've got total power, look at me, I'm the governor of the state. Don't you kayak in my ocean. I'm sorry, I wish at that time a tsunami just came up and washed all those fools off the beach trying to get that kayak. I mean, it's stupid. And then you take sand, tax dollar money, to haul dump trucks of sand to bury a skate park. That right there is Adolf Hitler. This government, they call Donald Trump Adolf Hitler. What a joke. Lower gas prices. Lower cost. A 2x4 was $3.37. Good thing I got most of my framing. In fact, all of my framing is done. And I have some other pieces of 2x4s to finish framing out windows in the back. $9 now at Home Depot. Plywood went up to $70 a sheet. All of this is the direct result of Biden and the cronies. But there are people that believe that the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the rich elites, the Bilderbergs, and who knows who all else is thrown into that, is orchestrating pandemonium and chaos and jolting the economies. And by the way, China's not doing so well either. People aren't paying their mortgages because China is a horrible place. And for those of you that knew me when I lived in Hong Kong, I have no desire, nor will I ever return to Hong Kong. It is not the same. It is under the CCP now. They are violating the 50-year agreement they made with the UK. They started that in 2019, and they had little inklings of it start before then. Facebook censored me and censored my friend. I got 6 days. And they find a picture from 2021. And I don't even know what the third issue was. Because when I got the first complaint, you posted a comment, that would have been removed and that would have been the end of it. But then boom, boom, boom. You do not have 4 people simultaneously complain about this, that, and that. Facebook is hypocritical. They do not operate on the American justice system. I don't have a right to do a drop-down menu and say, number one, that picture that I posted in 2021 is way more appropriate than the ones in this site. Let me give you their address. Go look at those pictures. They violate community standards for sexuality and nudity. But we know what Facebook is doing. They favor this. They don't favor heterosexual attraction. They favor same-sex attraction, and they push it and promote it and give it a free pass. They're doing it in schools. They're now having kid-friendly drag queen shows. Who came up with this? This country is circling the drain, more now than ever before. Revelation talks about a one-world government, the Antichrist, that one-world leader dictator, who midpoint of the tribulation is going to stand up and declare himself to be God, will demand that everybody have this mark. Folks, it's happening now. I mean, the stage is being set for the final play. Will America bounce back? Will we get red again? I don't know. I pray that God will allow us a reprieve. I pray that we'll have a red wave sweep the country and throw Pelosi out of speaker and get all of them out of there once and for all. But we know what the Bible says. We know what's going on around the world. And we don't like to admit this. But our day in the sun is over. We try. We continue to be responsible. You got to get up and go to your job and pay your bills. But listen, the time of Jacob's trouble is coming. Pay attention to Russia. Pay attention to what's going on. They are obliterating the Ukraine. Notice the Democrats were all about protecting the democracy of the Ukraine. Let me say something right now. The Ukrainians are not any more trustworthy than the Russians. They're some of the biggest scamming women to get on the dating networks. Stay the hell away from them. When the Democrats get behind something, run. And China doesn't like Pelosi. They watch us very closely. Pelosi's promoting socialism, and she's going to have the audacity to stand in Taiwan and shake her fist at the being CCP. And Nancy Pelosi's trying to bring the CCP right here, while she still has her stocks and bonds in her mansion in San Francisco and her damn ice cream addiction. Wake up, people. They're not doing as they say. They're the ones telling you to do as I say, not as I do. They're capitalist pigs with stock portfolios, health insurance. They've got all their safety nets in place. They're capitalist gluttons telling you that socialism is good for you. And all you Democrats want to get in here and say Trump this, Trump that, your leaders are filthy rich. They don't want you or anybody else to get up there except their little clique. That's not socialism. That's Amway. Get a bunch of suckers under me so I can be the wealthy one, get them to believe. That's what this Democrat Party is all about. Barack Obama shared the wealth. He hasn't shared any of his wealth with anybody. I thought he believed in global warming. No, he doesn't. He bought a house on Martha's Vineyard, so he's not too concerned about the ice caps melting. And my favorite about global warming, where did the ice age go that carved out the Great Lakes and Yosemite? When did that go away? There's no record of that in America. But it went out before there was a train, a cell phone, a car, a smokestack, anywhere in the world. So, global warming? Sounds like global warming was going on a long time ago and had nothing to do with a Right Guard deodorant can. You see, Pacific cuts through the crap. We don't need physics degrees. We don't need rocket scientist degrees. We just need to have a simple, concrete thinking skills to unpack what these clowns are saying. Okay, if global warming is true, this is alarmist. I looked up 1880 to now, the temperature's risen 1.9 degree. That's it. 1.9 degree in 140 years. That's cause for concern. You know what's more cause for concern in my country? The lack of manners, the lack of respect on the roads, the kids. There's crime out of control in the land of the free, the home of the brave. What are the Democrats doing to stop any of that? Oh, got to get control of these guns. Why don't you get control of your drivers that got Biden stickers? And let's go further, Trump stickers, I'm a conservative, or all the little crosses and all the little Calvin and Hobbes symbols of my family. None of you all know how to drive. None of you show any care or manners to the speed limit or turn signals or me and my safety. And I have more of a chance of being killed comatose by somebody in a car than I do somebody shooting me. Isn't that interesting? The Democrats are not about solving problems. They're just about creating more and more and more so they can control and control and control. Zuckerberg buying voting machines. I believe those voting machines were used to flip scripts. There's no doubt in my mind. Facebook censors, and Zuckerberg would utilize our constitutional judicial system if the government came after him in any way, but he doesn't do the same on a social media platform. The guy should be indicted for that. That I don't have a right to explain myself. This was satire. This was a joke. It doesn't call for 6 days banning. And then you can't pull a picture out of 2 years ago because what you're trying to do is you were mad at that comment. You can't get me for it. So let's find something back here. Now I will direct you to the lesbian sites where there's open nudity, and you let that go through. A Muslim woman with a sari around her head with no top on. That was all over Facebook several years ago, and it never got censored. So what is going on? It's the upside down world of the geeks in Silicon Valley. They're promoting everything but what is normal and natural and sane. They don't want Michael to have an interest in a woman. They want me to have an interest in a man. You know, it's funny, I could post pictures of shirtless males all day. They'll never censor that. But if I post a picture of a beautiful woman like this with a skimpy shirt on, and I haven't even done that in so long. Social media and Facebook is hypocritical. They do not believe in justice. They do not stand in the American judicial system. And they have the biggest support group. And Americans will still go back to it and still utilize it. TikTok, same thing. TikTok is being used as spyware to see into our lives. Trump tried to warn about it. Now the Democrats are starting to say, there might be something to this. Yeah, you guys are always, once the horse shits everywhere, then you're out there with your damn shovels. You didn't do anything to stop it, did you? And yeah, Facebook is very much like Adolf Hitler's SS brown shirts Gestapo. And I could go on and on, but you get the gist of it. Social media is not, people who believe in truth, it is not their friend. And you have no rights. There's nothing you can do. You're not going to get an attorney that's going to take them on. Thanks for listening. This is Pacific.